would have seen an all-time great game. We didn't. They've gone too far with this offensive deal. That game was diminished by its lack of defense. And if you really love football, the best game played was between Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, where there was offense and defense played. I just think we've overdone it with offense, and the removal, the making defense illegal has actually hurt football.
I disagree about last night's game. It came in with tremendous hype. You heard the announcers say it. I felt it. It exceeded the hype. To this point, when it was 24-9 at halftime, and, you know, the football player in me says, if Kansas City doesn't score quick, this game is over. So my behaviors are, I'm about to watch the first drive of the second half and then watch some Ozark. I got to catch up. I'm on my Ozark. And they score quickly. And next thing you know, my primal instincts kick in. Not my theories, not what is best for the sport, not overthinking it. Just in reaction mode. And my wife's next to me, and she's loving life because she's on Instagram while she's now unchallenged to just swipe up all night long while I am consumed by this great football game. And it takes me back to last year's Super Bowl, 41-33. It takes me last night, 43-40. High scoring gets the guy and the gal that's on the fence, the casual fan, the one who really doesn't love football, but is like, seafood, eat food. You see points, love points. And I'm in the same place, even as a purist like you. I just love seeing the offensive go out there on the offensive level and just put up points galore.
You know, when you look at the game of football, and I'm a defensive guy, right? So, but I loved the game last night. I mean, yeah. Even though it was a shootout, I loved the game. But then I go back a couple weeks, Cleveland versus the Baltimore Ravens. It was 12-9. I loved that game. I love the same game, but I know what Marcellus is saying is that the person who's the fantasy world, the people who live in that atmosphere like seeing points on the board. And there's more of those people than pure football people like me.
I disagree.
All right? And because you look at it and I'm saying, look, points on the board, it's ringing, it's ringing, it's ringing. It's like a slot machine. It's like slot machines.
Right.
People like slot machines. Most people don't like that slow scoring, dreaded defenses hitting the mouth, quarterbacks getting hit, receivers dropping the ball. People don't like seeing the old school football. But the old, real football people, we like to see that.
See, here's what I think everybody's missing out on. What people, and I listened to Colin Cowherd's show today, and Colin was saying, you know, people want to see scoring, people want to see the quarterbacks make all these plays. What people want to see is great competition. That's what attracts you to sports. Great competition. And so they want to see someone do something great against great resistance. And that's what we're missing with all of this offense, is we're missing the great resistance. If Patrick Mahomes throws 4 touchdowns against a great defense, wow, that's mind-blowing. Against the Patriots, and what Tom Brady, and again, Tom Brady was terrific, and some of his long balls and dimes, it was great. But the Kansas City Chiefs, and this isn't just the fan in me as a Chiefs fan, the Kansas City Chiefs defense was embarrassing to me. Yeah. Embarrassing. It was, they were running the ball so easily with running backs not that talented. And I know they got the young Sony Michel, the rookie guy, or whatever, but I just don't see it. That wasn't Le'Veon Bell putting it on the Kansas City Chiefs. That wasn't some great offensive line putting it on the Chiefs. That was an average offensive line with slightly above average or average running backs that just shoved it down the Chiefs' throat. And I'm just saying, people want to see great competition. They want heroes on both sides of the ball. It's hard for me to name, other than Dante Hightower, it's hard for me to name a defensive player. I guess the McCourty brothers.
twins, Patrick Chung.
They was tracing people.
Trey Flowers. I mean,
name somebody on the Chiefs defense.
You got him. Eric Berry, come back.
D Ford, right?
Eric Berry, where are you?
Yeah, you know what's interesting? That if you look at defenses, like over the years, we've always said, oh, you know, Steel Curtain, and then we get an 85 Bears. Like, I just think that I'm not interested in a defensive struggle unless they have a nickname and they come in with this daunted reputation, and I'm like, okay, I'm watching collective greats play defense. But an offensive game, I just wanted to see points go up, and I don't give a damn who's out there doing it. And it's crazy because that is what we're talking about. The machinery of the NFL is trying to change, not the base. And I think your argument is pure to the base of football. It's trying to change the margins because like in any political discussion, any discussion, relationships, you're not changing the core of me. You're changing me on the edges. So what the NFL's doing is trying to change people that are on the fence, on the edge. And it's a smart play for them because the Jacksonville defense 2 weeks ago was amazing. And then they saw KC and whatever you think of Dallas. Now, all of a sudden, what is a great defense if it gets exposed by even greater offense?
You know, I look at it, and yes, they've changed a lot of the rules. They've changed, they're talking about quarterbacks are overprotected. You got the defensive receiver. But that still shouldn't dictate to you as a defender how you play. So, and I say that by, think about Speaks.
Yes, I'm glad you got there.
For New England. He hit Tom Brady. He didn't bring him to the ground because he thought he threw the ball already. He thought he released the ball. But his interview after that in the locker room said, I will never do that again. So he's going to learn. And the really good ones, don't let that yellow flag dictate how they're going to play. They're still going to shoot through the receiver. They're still going to play as physical and fast as they need to play on the defensive side. Staying on top of a receiver is like coverage 101 rules.
Right.
We've seen guys in bump and run all day long. Bump and run is not good in the National Football League unless it's called. But they're playing that way on a consistent basis, and quarterbacks are just taking shots down the field. You know, so I think the rules have changed some of the dynamics of the defense and what you can and cannot do, but the basis of who you are as a player, you still got to be a competitor and go challenge a guy.
But don't let him off the hook. Don't let Speaks off the hook. Like, I heard his reaction, and I saw all the sympathy cards going in the mail all the way to Kansas City. The rule change made you act like that. There's not an NFL rule says don't tackle the quarterback.
Don't take him to the ground.
So there's no rule that said you can't take him to the ground.
Have you asked Clay Matthews if there's not a rule that says don't?
Clay Matthews was guilty with your body weight. Slam your son like that, I dare you. You're not.
They
tackle the quarterback like he's your son.
They fined T.J. Watt $20,000 for touching the guy's knee.
That one was bad. Now, that's ridiculous, but that's not what he could have done. In this moment, you know what? He's a rookie, thrown into action.
Yeah.
And, you know, Houston's out, and he's like, oh, my God, this is a big moment. And then he's like, oh, let me be overcautious in this moment. But guess what? Do your job first. To Rob's point, you don't sit there and say, because I'm scared of the infraction, I'm not even going to do my job first.
Why would... I can't believe you're not sympathetic and can't understand that the rules that they put in have made people, instead of just playing the game, these guys have to overthink the game. And that play, again, I'm a Chiefs fan, but that was just one of the plays that just made me sick. And I immediately, when Chris Collinsworth called it out, I thought it was a great catch by him to see that happened.
Yeah.
And then it just made me say, see, this is my problem, man. They making it so hard on the defensive guys, they don't even know when to tackle.
Meek Mill said there's levels to this, and there's levels to this. The first level is get him on the ground and do that.
Do your job first.
Do your job first in the most gentle manner you can. Like a sack you don't get 2 sacks for slamming them. You don't get 2 sacks for lying on them.
Right.
You get a sack for wherever way you get them down.